Hi, I'm Nicole from the Gladstone DBT program, and today I'm talking about the DBT therapy skills for emotion regulation. These are all of the skills that we teach in the emotion regulation module in the DBT skills groups. The first skill I'm going to talk about is mindfulness of current emotion. Usually we teach that at the end of the model. Today I'm talking about it first, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Next, I'm going to talk about three skills that we use to help change emotions after they've started. The first one is check the facts, then opposite action, and after that, we're going to talk about problem solving. And then the final set of skills in this module are skills for making you less vulnerable to intense emotions. So those are accumulating positive emotions, building mastery, coping ahead, and please. Together, we call those skills ABC Please. Listen on to hear specifics about all of those skills. Mindfulness of current emotion is a great skill to use when your emotions aren't so intense that you feel completely out of control. This is a great skill to use because it helps you to allow your emotions. Notice that they're not dangerous, they can't actually hurt you physically, and just allow them to process through your body and do their thing on their own without acting on the emotion. So, this is how you do it. The first step is to take a step back and notice where you feel the emotion in your body. Next, you're going to ride that emotion like a wave. Just experience it coming and going and doing its thing naturally, like it does all on its own without you trying to change it. Don't try to block or suppress the emotion, and don't try to hold on to it or amplify it either. Simply notice the emotion like a scientist studying it. Be curious about the emotion and wonder what it might do next. Remember that there have been times when you have felt differently, and respect your emotion without judgment. Ask, what is this emotion trying to communicate to me right now? And finally, observe how long it takes for the emotion to pass on its own. Check the facts is the first of three skills that we teach in the emotion regulation section that are aimed at changing an emotional response. So, the first step of check the facts is to ask yourself, what emotion are you feeling right now? And what is the intensity of that emotion? Then ask yourself, what was the prompting event? The prompting event is the thing that prompted your emotion to start in the first place. So, let's say you are feeling shame and anxiety after seeing a friend pass you on the street without acknowledging your presence or saying hello. In that situation, the prompting event is your friend walking past without saying hello. Next, you're going to write down all of your assumptions and interpretations about the prompting event. So, back to the example with your friend walking past you, maybe you're assuming that friend is angry at you. That friend doesn't like you anymore and doesn't want to be your friend anymore. That friend heard some rumor about you that they believed, and now they don't like you anymore. So write down all of the assumptions that you're making. And then next, you're going to challenge all of those assumptions. So, is there another way of interpreting it? Maybe another interpretation could be that your friend didn't see you, or maybe your friend was distracted by their phone. Maybe your friend was on their way to something important and they didn't have to talk, time to stop and talk. The next step is asking yourself if you're assuming a threat. So, maybe in the situation where your friend passed you on the street, you're assuming that now that this friend doesn't like you, nobody's going to like you, and you're never going to be able to make any friends again. You're going to be alone and lonely, and people won't like you. So, after that, you're going to ask yourself, what's the actual probability of that threat happening? Could one friend passing you on the street actually lead to nobody liking you and you not having any friends ever again? After you've asked yourself all those questions, you're going to sum it all up and ask yourself if your emotion or its intensity fit the actual facts of the situation. And if you're still not sure, check with your wise mind. Here are some examples of emotions that fit the facts. Fear is an emotion that fits the facts if there's a threat to your life or the life of someone you care about, if someone or something is threatening your health or the health of someone you care about, or if your well being or security are at risk. Anger fits the facts when something has blocked or interrupted an important goal or activity of yours. If someone attacks or hurts you, or they do the same thing to someone you care about. If someone insults or threatens you or someone you care about. Or if someone threatens the integrity or status of your social group. And sadness fits the facts if you've lost something or someone permanently. For example, if a person has died or moved far away and you know you're never going to see them again, you've lost a relationship permanently because of a breakup, you've lost a job permanently because you were fired. Those are examples of losses that cause sadness. And then the other way that sadness fits the facts is if things are not the way you wanted or hoped for them to be. The second DBT emotion regulation skill that's aimed at changing emotions is called opposite action. So, the steps for opposite action start off a lot like check the facts. You're going to ask yourself what emotion you're feeling and what's the intensity of that emotion. Then you're going to use the check the facts skill that we already talked about to see if your emotion is justified. Remember, all emotions are valid, but some don't fit the facts of the situation. Next, ask yourself, what are your action urges? Is your emotion telling you to do something? That would be the action urge caused by your emotion. If you act on your action urges, will that be effective or cause more problems? If the urge is ineffective, act opposite all the way. For example, if you have the urge to yell at someone, say something kind instead, and continue acting opposite until your emotion changes. Here are some examples of opposite actions to specific emotions. So, the first emotion that we're going to use as an example is fear. Opposite actions to fear include doing what you're afraid of doing over and over again. This is called exposure to the feared object. Next, keep your eyes and ears open and focused on the thing you're afraid of. Look around slowly and explore. And then finally, adopt a confident body posture and tone of voice. Opposite actions for anger include gently avoiding the person you're angry with, being kind rather than mean or insulting. Imagine having empathy for that person. And then change your posture. Unclench your hands, relax your muscles, unclench your teeth, and do a half smile. This next one, sometimes people find a little surprising that we recommend. These are opposite actions to love. And the reason that you might use opposite actions to love is if you've had a difficult breakup and you're having difficulty accepting the breakup or recovering from the breakup. So here are some opposite actions to love. Number one, avoid the person or thing that you love. No contact, no looking at photos, no reading old messages, etc. Two, stop expressing love for that person, even to friends. Don't keep on telling your friends how much you miss that person. Don't say that out loud. Stop expressing love for them. And then finally, change your posture and facial expressions if you're around them. So maybe they're still part of your friend group and you see them every so often. Maybe you work in the same place or you go to the same school. So if you see them, change your posture and facial expression. No leaning toward them, no sighing, no gazing at them. Lean back, put some physical distance between you and the person. These are all examples of opposite actions to specific emotions. And the reason that they work is when you change your actions, what you do in response to emotions, you actually change the emotion as well. There's a strong connection between your body and your mind. The third DBT emotion regulation skill that's aimed at changing an emotion after it started is called problem solving. Again, the first step is asking yourself what emotion you're feeling and what the intensity is of that emotion. Next, check the facts. We're always going to check the facts before we try to change an emotion. If your emotion is justified, then that might mean that the situation is the problem. And that is a good time to use problem solving. So, step 3, identify your goal. What is it that you want to change about the situation? Step 4, brainstorm lots of solutions. Nothing is off limits, even if you think it won't work in the brainstorming step. Next, choose a couple of the solutions that look promising and write out the pros and cons of each one. And then finally, put one of your solutions into action. After that, you're going to reevaluate and see if you feel any differently, if the situation seems to be solved. If the solution didn't work, try another one and keep on trying until you find a solution that works. This next set of skills are all skills that help to reduce your emotional vulnerability. These are the DBT emotion regulation skills that we sum up with the acronym ABC Please. The A in ABC Please stands for accumulate positive emotions. And this skill has long-term and short-term versions. I'm going to start with the short-term version. So accumulating positive emotions, the idea behind this is, you know how sometimes thing after thing after thing piles up in your day that goes wrong? And by the end of the day, you're in such a bad mood that one small thing could go wrong and you're going to completely blow up or burst into tears sobbing and just feel awful about it. Well, the same thing can be true. Well, the opposite thing actually can be true if thing after thing after thing piles up. That feels positive. So, what we're doing here is trying to pile up those positive things on purpose. Here's how you do it. Every day, do at least one thing that brings you joy or makes you feel some sort of positive emotion. Step 2, avoid avoiding. That means that if you have the urge to avoid pleasant events, throw yourself into them instead. 3, be mindful of your positive experiences as they are happening. No multitasking. The way I like to explain this is, let's say your positive event is listening to music. If you put on your favorite song, you listen to it and pay attention to it, maybe you sing along, maybe you dance, maybe you simply lay back and listen and allow the music to wash over you, that counts as accumulating positive emotions. If you simply put the music on in the background while you're working or doing something else and you're not really paying attention to it, that does not count. That's multitasking. So you have to be mindful of your positive experiences as they're happening. And finally, let go of worries and self consciousness. If your worry thoughts enter your mind, notice that that's happened and then let it go and refocus your attention on the pleasant event. Here are some ideas for pleasant events that you could use to accumulate positive emotions. You could read a book, watch a movie, tell a joke, hang out with a friend, listen to music, go for a walk, play a game, watch your favorite sports team, really anything that you enjoy. It can be something that you do for the whole day, for an hour, or even for simply 5 minutes. Just do at least one thing that you enjoy every single day. Next, we'd like to share accumulate positive emotions in the long term. This one is similar to the short term skill, except for in this version, we're trying to create a situation in your life where good things that create positive emotions are more likely to occur in the long term. The first step of this skill, just like the previous skill, is to avoid avoiding. You're going to start now to build the life that you want. Next, you're going to identify your values. What is it that's really important to you in your life? For some people, it's really important to spend more time with the people that they love. For others, it's really important to build an important career. And for still others, it's really important to live a healthy life that's with a physically healthy body. So think about any values that you have and write them down. What's really important to you? Next, you're going to choose one value to work on now, and then identify a few goals that are related to this value. Goals are things that are achievable, values are things that you work toward your whole life. Next, you're going to choose one goal to work on first. Write down some action steps that will get you closer to your goal and make a plan to do them. And then finally, choose one action step to take right now. The next DBT emotion regulation skill in the ABC Please set is called Build Mastery. Here are the steps. Number 1, you're going to do at least one thing each day that makes you feel a sense of accomplishment. Choose something that's both difficult and possible because you want to plan for success. For example, I usually choose doing my language exercises in my Duolingo app because I am learning a second language. So I'm going to choose difficult and possible exercises. If I choose something that's way beyond my skills, then that's not going to be possible for me to achieve, and I won't feel that success. I won't feel that accomplishment. If I choose super introductory exercises that I got past years ago, I'm also not going to feel accomplished because it's too easy. You want something that's difficult and possible. Also, you're going to gradually increase the difficulty of the things that you do for Build Mastery over time. I'm not going to keep on doing the introductory exercises forever. It also doesn't have to be the same thing every day. Some days I might clean my house because it makes me feel really accomplished to have a clean house that I put some time into. Another time I might do yard work. Another time I might learn some other new skill like dancing or making jewelry. Whatever you want to do, if it gives you a sense of mastery and you're gradually increasing the difficulty over time, then that works. And finally, look for challenges in everyday life. Even if you haven't planned ahead, if you notice something comes up in your life that seems like a challenge that might be difficult and possible, go for it. The next DBT skill for emotion regulation that's part of the ABC Please set is called Cope Ahead. I love this skill. I use it all the time, both in my personal life and with my clients. This is a skill that you use when you know that there's a situation coming up that's likely to cause you some distress. You're going to plan for the skills that you'll use to be able to handle the situation skillfully. So the first step is to identify the upcoming event that may cause distress. The next step is to ask yourself, what are the specific things that you think might go wrong at this event? And then number 3, plan which DBT skills you'll use if your feared outcome occurs. So let's say you have a family dinner coming up with some family members who you often fight with. You're going to think about, okay, the event is the family dinner. What might go wrong? Maybe you are concerned that a particular cousin or a particular aunt may argue with you about your living situation. So next, you're going to choose what DBT skills will you use if that happens. Maybe your plan is that you're going to walk away. Maybe your plan is that you're going to use some paced breathing. Whatever DBT skills work for you in situations like that, have that plan ready. The fourth step is to practice, practice, practice. And you can do this all in your mind. So what you do is you sit down, close your eyes, and imagine the situation in your mind, and imagine yourself using the planned skills. So in your mind, walk through sitting at the dinner table, having your aunt ask you about your living situation and criticizing the way that you're living, and then imagine yourself getting up and walking away or using the paced breathing, whatever skill it was that you decided to do. The more you practice this in your mind ahead of time, the more likely you are to remember to use this skill in the moment. And then step 5 is to keep practicing over and over until the event occurs. The final DBT emotion regulation skill that's part of the ABC Please set is called Please. This skill involves taking care of your body in order to make your mind less vulnerable to intense emotions. This is another one of the DBT acronyms. As you might know, Marsha Linehan was really fond of acronyms. So take a look at the acronym here. The first part of Please is PL, and this stands for Treat Physical Illness. So what this means is if you're sick, take the time to rest, take your medicine. If you have prescribed medications that you need to take every day, make sure that you're taking them. Anything that is going on with your body, if you're sick, take care of it. Treat the problem. The first E stands for eat a balanced diet, and you're also going to want to drink enough water. So when you're eating enough vegetables and proteins and all that other healthy stuff, then your body is in better shape and better able to handle your emotions, less likely to go into emotion mind. The A stands for avoid mood-altering substances like alcohol and recreational drugs. We know that not a lot of people like to hear this, and you often might feel like you're calming down when you drink alcohol or smoke marijuana or use other recreational drugs. And that's true in the moment sometimes. And it's also true that when you regularly use alcohol and recreational drugs, your body is less able to tolerate intense emotions, and you are more likely to go into emotion mind. The S stands for sleep. You're going to want to aim for 7 to 9 hours a night. I know that is easier said than done for lots of people. If there is something going on that's preventing you from getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, it's really important to talk to your doctor or your therapist to try to help you make a plan to get better sleep. And then the final E is for exercise. So if you can, a few times a week, get some exercise. Do something that gets your heart pumping, something that makes you feel physically stronger. If you do all 5 of these things, your body will be in better shape and better prepared to handle emotions and less likely to go into emotion mind and experience intense emotions.